It's the 4th annual Bourbon Night Awards, featuring categories like Best Value, Most Underrated, Most Divisive, Best WhiskeyTube video or series, and much more. And now, your hosts for the evening, from It's Bourbon Night, Chad and Sarah. Welcome to the 4th annual Bourbon Night Awards.
Tonight, we'll be celebrating excellence in American whiskey and surrounding categories.
This is a 100% crowdsourced whiskey award show, and to let you know how the nominees got nominated and how the award winners were picked, here's a voiceover. The winners of all categories, unless otherwise noted, were determined by the Bourbon Night YouTube community. The Bourbon Night Patreon community was first asked for nominations for each category. The nominations were then combed through to find the 5 most nominated options. These 5 options were then presented to the YouTube community in a poll format, and the outcome of those polls determined the winners. Due to the filming of this episode, all polls and comments were considered closed as of 4 p.m. on Saturday the 12th of March. All results are 100% crowdsourced. This is my announcer voice.
All right, let's get the show started. Our first category is Best Value American Whiskey.
And the nominees are Wild Turkey 101, Evan Williams, Bottled in Bond, Early Times, Bottled in Bond, Knob Creek Small Batch, 9-year, Evan Williams, 1783, Small Batch. Sarah, people can't tell that I'm wearing cufflinks because it's under here, but I am. Cufflinks, everybody.
He's doing it.
Tuxedo, 4th year, get off my back.
He doesn't want to hear about it in the comments.
Get off my back.
And the winner is Wild Turkey 101.
Hey.
Now, Chad, I have to say, of all of them, all of our categories, this one was the biggest landslide.
Ooh.
Of almost 4,000 votes, Wild Turkey 101 won by 53%. I got 53% of the votes. This little guy.
Here you go.
This little
It's
guy.
almost gone. Congratulations, Wild
Congrats.
Turkey 101.
Good job, you did it.
Let's go to some comments.
Sean says, Turkey takes it because availability has to be factored in on a bottle in this category. It's at every store and every bar. Plus, it's delicious.
And Bob says, Wild Turkey 101 would be a shoo-in for me if it were not for the re-release of 1783, which I can still get for $16. Oof, tough choices. Oof, tough choices indeed, Sarah.
Right.
That 1783, I mean, but the 90 proof versus the 101, but yeah, sure.
Turkey 101, you don't have to twist our arm.
Now on to our next category, most underrated American whiskey.
And the nominees are Old Granddad 114, Four Roses Single Barrel, Old Forester 1920, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof, Wilderness Trail 6-year Bottled in Bond.
And the Bourbon Night goes to Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof.
It's a bit surprising, Chad, because it's not one that you can find all the time, but they think
right.
it's underrated.
I would personally probably not have voted that way because I feel like the Jack Daniel's secret is out and it won some awards last year.
True.
Here it is winning awards again, already just the second award in, but let's see how it continues to fare throughout the episode. But
And let's hear from the comments.
yes.
Brian says, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof is a known awesome bottle for those that know whiskey. But as soon as you try to get someone else to try it, they're always hesitant just because of that Jack Daniel's label.
And Jake says, how is Jack Daniel's winning when it flies off the shelf? It's become hard to find in my area.
Of the results, the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof got 29% of 3.7K votes.
Okay.
And then tied for second place was the Old Granddad 114 and the Four Roses Single Barrel. I would have had a harder time personally trying to decide between those two just because they're pretty readily available and pretty affordable.
I think a lot of people didn't vote for the Old Granddad because from what we gathered in the comments, people were saying, shut up about the OGD 114. Don't let it win any awards. We don't want it to become hard to find or raise the price.
Understandable.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to a new category as of last year. It's Best International Whiskey. And here to present from Aquavite, please welcome Roy.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Sarah. It's fantastic to be here. Thanks so much. The nominees for the 2022 Best International Whiskey are Redbreast 12-year Cask Strength, Hibiki Harmony, Blue Spot Single Pot Still Irish, Cavalan Concertmaster, and Lagavulin 11-year Offerman Edition.
Thank you, Roy. And the winner is?
You were supposed to send me an envelope, remember?
Oh, that's right.
We talked about this last year, Chad.
Yeah, I totally did this last year. I forgot that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, Roy, brace yourself. I'm gonna quantum leap into you. All right, okay. Here we go.
And the winner for Best International Whiskey 2022 is Redbreast, 12-year-old cask strength.
Whoa.
Okay.
Why do I have this strange need for a wee dram? All right, Roy, how about some comments?
Yeah, of course. Javier Acosta says that the Offerman was amazingly drinkable. He says especially when he had it with a Guinness or any other good stout beer. And Michele Martin says, I think it's Michele, it could be Michelle. The Redbreast 12 cask strength was so good, we bought a backup bottle.
Thanks, Roy. Don't forget to check out Aquavitae here on YouTube.
Give him a subscribe.
Yes, do it.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Our next category is Most Divisive American Whiskey Release.
And the nominees are Russell's Reserve Barrel Proof 13-year Barrel Seagrass, Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 5, Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 5, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A121.
And the winner is Barrel Seagrass. Yes.
Yeah, love it or lump it.
Very much so. Everybody either loves or hates this one.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, with 2.3K votes on this one.
Uh-huh.
It got 31% of the votes.
31. Okay, let's get to some comments.
Old Man Crypto says, Seagrass is a lot like cilantro for people. You either love it or loathe it. I love both. Me too.
Jenny says, initially I thought Seagrass was solely a summer sipper mainly due to the flavor profiles. Boy, was I surprised when I broke it out in the middle of winter. It was just enjoyable. The proof keeps you warm in the winter and the tropical notes make you long for your toes in the sand.
And Neil says, so many people whose palates I trust like Seagrass. I find it unbearably sweet. I don't know about you, Chad, but that does sound kind of divisive. The cilantro thing
definition,
and then the
yeah.
unbearably sweet, but also toes in the sand. Like, we're painting very different pictures
We
here.
had two loves, one hate in the comments that we selected. I also feel like people weighed in on this one a lot because it was one that people were able to get a hold of.
It's true.
And that kind of, you have to have people out there drinking it to have an opinion on it.
True.
But it's nominated in some other categories later on, so we'll see how it does there. But on to the next category, which is Best WhiskeyTube Video or Series.
And the nominees are ADHD Whiskey for Matt Madness, It's Bourbon Night for Flight Fights, The Bourbon Junkies for Poor Guesses, It's Bourbon Night, 25 Most Notable American Whiskeys of 2021 December Countdown, The Whiskey Vault, Rare Whiskey Fridays. Now, Chad, before we announce these, I feel like we should remind them once again that these nominees were 100% crowdsourced. We like ourselves, but
We didn't nominate ourselves twice.
we did not nominate ourselves twice.
Yeah,
the
for
community did.
But that probably did split our votes. We probably
It
shouldn't
did.
have let that happen.
Oh.
Ah, daggone it.
Well,
All
may
right.
the best WhiskeyTube channel
That's
win.
fine. And the Bourbon Night goes to the Bourbon Junkies for Poor Guesses.
Congrats, guys.
And here to accept the Bourbon Night are Dan and Sean.
How's it going, everyone?
Hello.
How are you? Me and Dan just learned a little bit ago that we won. We won the best.
We won
series.
the thing. Yeah. We won the best.
Poor guesses.
Okay, you know what? And that's unfortunate.
That's why
That's
we
not-
won.
That's why my blood pressure's so high, actually.
That clipped a little bit.
Thank you to Chad and Sarah so much for even
Yeah.
having our thing be a part of that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cool things in there. Chad and Sarah had a couple different things they do in there. Matt Madness was
I
in there.
voted for
Whiskey
Matt.
Tribe had a thing in there. So it's super cool. Like, that was incredible.
So thank you guys so much for going out and voting for us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Immensely.
And thank you to Chad and Sarah as always. Thank you to the community as always. We love you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm drinking my favorite Foregate, so.
I'm drinking a St. Patrick's Day drink.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much.
The thing about this category is people wrote in some nominees who weren't actually of the top 5. Again, those nominees are crowdsourced. So, but with 5 slots available, not everybody could make it in. So
That's right.
We'll be reading a couple more comments than we have been because these are our friends and we want to include them. Marcus says 2 words, poor guesses.
Bob says, Matt Madness is a chance for all the great whiskey tubers to get on and talk smack and show us their skills.
T. Dabney says Aquavitae recycled reviews.
Mike says, I think the Vault is my favorite of these because it gives insight to bottles I have not ever got to try before and might spark my interest in trying some lesser known bottles on shelves.
Darren says Flight Fights is the GOAT.
Greatest of all time.
Demetrius says, love your channel, but I think the Mash and Drum should be on this list. Mash and Drum has a lot of good content and feels like some honest opinions of whiskeys. I agree, I love Mash and Drum.
Absolutely. Jacko says, Ralphie is the king of WhiskeyTube. He is one of the OGs. Jeff says, Poor Guesses wins for 2 reasons. 1, Dan getting mad at every intro, and 2, the complete and total humiliation factor of whoever thinks they're right.
David says, I love me some flight fights. I love it when one of an individual's favorite whiskeys is thrown into a blind lineup and then gets roasted by said person when they try it. On a personal note, I would like to start a write-in campaign for Trevor Wilson of the Bourbon Wrench fame. He needs to get some Bourbonnight love, maybe an honorable mention or Lifetime Achievement Award for most Malort consumed without serious long-term side effects.
I gotta agree with all those comments. The channels that weren't nominated obviously deserve love too.
I wish we had 1 million slots.
I know, you can only do 5 slots on YouTube for
Mm.
voting. Wish we could have more. They're all great.
Hurts my feelings a little bit. But
Yeah. And we didn't win.
we didn't win.
That's okay because
So it's not rigged.
yeah, we actually have our own category.
We do have our own category.
We stuck in here. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to take anything away from the win.
Right. No, Chad.
Of those who won.
Have
But
some class. You're wearing a tux. Show some class.
I'm wearing a tux.
You are.
I will take your order. Can I refill your water?
But I will say, that is the category that's next.
That's right.
It's the best Bourbonnight episode of 2021.
And the nominees are
Halloween, Tricked or Treated with Whiskey. Buffalo Trace Antique Collection 2021, ranked and reviewed. 5 years of its Bourbonnight, a look through our history. 4 Roses Small Batch Blend Challenge, also known as Beat Brent Elliott. And the Bourbon Bowl 3.
And the Bourbonnight goes to 5 years of its Bourbonnight, a look through our history.
Yay!
Wow.
Chad, aren't you so happy?
Oh my God, I am actually, this makes me happier than you guys could know because that episode took an insane amount of time.
Didn't you stay up until like 3 o'clock in the morning editing
yes.
to get that one out on time?
To get that, yeah,
You
out
put
on a
so
Friday.
much work. We had to go back through 5 years of
5 years
of footage.
Had to pull clips, had to go through hard drives, and then because it didn't have Buffalo Trace in the title, it didn't get so many views.
Which was a little disheartening for you.
Sure, but to know.
Right, and I think the people who really, who watched it really liked it.
Yeah.
They took the time to watch it all, and I think they really appreciated the work that you put into it.
The ones who did watch it enjoyed it.
And
so,
I loved it because I love going back and seeing.
vindication. Thank you.
If you
guys.
haven't watched it, go watch it because it just won.
Congratulations.
No, congratulations.
Oh, well,
Let's be
thanks.
honest. This one was you.
Here, photo op. Okay, that's enough. Let's read some comments though.
BLD RV7 says, had to vote for the 5 years, although the 4 Roses was an outstanding episode. I won't be upset if they tie.
Jimmy Drammer says, voted for Tricked or Treated. Would love to see a monthly game like this.
Sai says, all I can say about the BTAC 2021 review is, you had me at the intro.
Yeah, votes all around there, and
I think that might be Chad's favorite category. Yeah.
well, Tricked or Treated with Whiskey has actually rolled into What's in My Glass, which is a show that we've done live. We're
A
doing
non-seasonal.
new produced episode of it coming soon. So yeah, might not be monthly, but it might be monthly. But that will be coming a lot more frequently in the form of What's in My Glass.
That's right.
So, and now on to the next category, which is Best Cask Strength Bourbon.
And the nominees are Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, C921, Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Proof, Stag Jr., Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B521, E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
And the winner is Stag Jr. 35%. The next would be the Jack Daniels Single Barrel Barrel Proof.
At 29%.
What's it doing in a bourbon category? But hey, we're not going to get into that.
You could argue either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad.
And the others, 14%, 9%.
Tied for third was the Elijah Craig C921 and the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to some comments.
Mike says, love my Stag Jr. Batch 17.
Christopher says, the only one of these that is somewhat readily available for under $70 is Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof. All others sell out immediately, and you have to go on the secondary, at least where I'm from. I would place Jack Daniel's on third on the list, but for the price and availability, it goes to first, hands down. Yeah, so, Jack Daniel's coming in second there, so I'm not sure about this most underrated thing that it
it seems
won.
like it's rated, but
it is pretty
hey,
rated,
we're not going to argue with you guys.
No.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Promotional consideration provided by WhiskeyAmbitions.com. It's Bourbonnight's home on the internet for their official Glencairns, Copitas, rocks glasses, water glasses, pins, coins, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, candles, and more. Always coming soon. That's WhiskeyAmbitions.com. And by Patreon.com/itsbourbonnight. The best way to get your hands on single barrels picked by Chad and Sarah, as well as exclusive content like Another Round, access to polls that help shape this very award show, exclusive live streams, and more. That's Patreon.com/itsbourbonnight. Stay tuned for Best Craft Distillery, Distillery of the Year, and Best Bourbon of the Year when the 4th Annual Bourbon Night Awards returns.
Welcome back. It's time for our next category.
Best Craft Distillery.
And the nominees are
New Riff, Wilderness Trail, Nulu, Kentucky Peerless, Chattanooga Whiskey. Now, before we reveal the winner, just a little clarification. Nulu is actually a non-producing distiller. They source and then they modify by finishing, blending, toasted barrels, so forth. So the definition of craft distillery here is sort of bent a little bit, and the winner is
New Riff. Yeah, out of 2.3 thousand votes, got 35% of the votes.
35%. Okay.
Pretty closely followed by Wilderness Trail at 27% of the votes.
Pretty close race. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go to some comments.
Chuck says, I love New Riff. I've been lucky enough to try a handful of their offerings, and I've not been disappointed once.
Javier says, New Riff really has proved it belongs at the top of the pack. No fancy barrel finishing here. Their flavors are all from their myriad of eclectic mash bills and heirloom grains presented at a minimum 100 proof. What's not to love?
Those comments make some pretty good points, Chad.
Yeah,
You know?
what's not to love?
But, I think this is a great category to have because we love to see craft distilleries coming up.
Absolutely.
Moving on up in the
Moving
world.
on up
Yep.
to the east side.
And we
Okay.
do like some New Riff.
Yes, we do. And now on to a more somber and serious point of the evening, the Lifetime Achievement Award. And since we began this series 4 years ago, it's also sort of acted as an in memoriam. This is the first year that we're not honoring a master distiller, but someone who is more in our realm, someone who is in the community, someone that we never got to meet, but we wish we had.
Yeah.
Tonight, we honor Brett, the Scotch Trooper. Brett, better known to most whiskey drinkers as the Scotch Trooper, did what few are able to figure out: how to combine two passions that seem light years apart into something creative, artistic, and ultimately, relatable. Brett's fandom for Star Wars, which started like many when he was young, met his later-in-life interest of whiskey in the form of @Scotch_Trooper on Instagram. What's more impressive than Brett's photography and staging skills is how he would tell an entire story in a single snapshot, the majority of which featured stormtroopers devoid of any facial expressions, but that never once lacked life or purpose. In an article written by Robinson, published on the website The Whiskey Wash, describe Brett as a somewhat shy person, which made complete sense why he would pick the masked stormtroopers as his subject matter of choice. Quoted in the article, it was said of Brett that he was a pretty shy guy, but once you got to know him, it was like you knew him forever. Brett's announcement of his battle with stage 4 pancreatic cancer came in May of 2020, and by February of 2021, he had passed away, forever becoming one with the Force. A GoFundMe page was set up to help with medical bills and can still be contributed to, as the goal has not yet been met. Brett's original Scotch_Trooper account closed with over 61,000 followers, and a new tribute account has been set up that you can follow @ScotchTrooperLegacy. Cheers to you, Brett. The stories, inspiration, and friendships you created will live on here and in a galaxy far, far away. Brett, to you and your family, cheers. Now on to our next category, Distillery of the Year.
And the nominees are Maker's Mark, Old Forester, Bardstown Bourbon Company, Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey.
And the Bourbon Night goes to Wild Turkey. Wild Turkeys keep dragging me away. So close on this one for the first and second place. Wild Turkey had 27%. Old Forester, 26%.
Oh,
tight race.
A photo finish.
Tight. And then, tied for third place.
Three-way tie for third place.
Bardstown Bourbon Company, 16%. Heaven Hill as well. And then Maker's Mark as well. Okay, let's go to some comments.
David says, Wild Turkey continues to produce some fantastic bourbons. 101, Rare Breed, and Russell's Reserve are all great pours. Damien says, to me, Makers has made the most progress this year in listening to the consumers who don't just want the mass-marketed standard offerings, but my vote is Wild Turkey. The Russell's Reserve 13 and the Wild Turkey Master's Keep 1 release, the tons of Russell's Reserve single barrel store picks, plus Rare Breed on its own blows most makers out of the water, and is one of their regular, and more recently hard to find offerings. Also had some older turkey releases recently, and they were going toe-to-toe with some BTACs.
Beer Me 89 says, I voted for Makers for the main fact that I used to dismiss it, thinking it was just standard Makers. Then I had FAE01, which opened my eyes to 46, Cask Strength, FAE02, and great store picks.
Well, Chad, I think it's looking like a night for Wild Turkey because 101 won the best
That's
value.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and then here we are with it winning Distillery of the Year.
Okay.
The Russell's 13 is getting a lot of nominations as well. So
That's true.
And a lot of talk. I mean, I got to agree
Talk
with
of the town.
that comment that said, though, that a lot of the Russell single barrels are very good also for $65. It's hard to beat.
That's right, but if we're looking at, things that came out not widely available, but available to the public in 2021, that's different than just some, store picks here and there that aren't available.
That's true.
Everywhere.
That's
so that's
true.
something to keep in mind. Something else to note, this is the first time in 2 years that Buffalo Trace has not taken this category.
Oh.
It's not even nominated this year, Sarah.
Yeah, I think that they've experienced some frustration with not being able to get
It is very
some things.
popular.
And if you think about it, I mean, Buffalo Trace puts out their Buffalo Trace Antique Collection every
Right,
year.
I'm familiar.
And then they do the Pappy releases, and there are those experimental releases, but that most people never even lay eyes upon.
Maybe some frustration.
Now, Wild Turkey did do the one this year, the Master's Keep 1, and then they did do the Russell's 13.
Mm-hmm.
Also tough to find, but I think maybe those releases were more attainable, a little more visible to people.
Possibly.
I think people have just given up on Buffalo Trace,
Maybe.
if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know.
All right. Well, now
Our final
it's time for the
category.
big category, the best bourbon of 2021. You
Overall.
already know what we picked, but this is according to you all.
The nominees are Remus Repeal Reserve, Batch 5, Maker's Mark, FAE02, Four Roses Limited Edition Small Batch, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, B521, Russell's Reserve Barrel Proof, 13 year.
Here it is, Sarah. Woo! It's the big one. And the Bourbon Night goes to... It's the Russell's Reserve 13 year.
It is a Wild Turkey night.
It is a wild. All right.
Fell of the ball.
Wow.
And
okay.
here now we have Matthew McConaughey to speak on that.
Matthew, I'm sorry he was not able to make it. He said, "Stop calling me."
We don't have that budget.
No.
The close.
29% of the vote went to the Russell's Reserve. Second place, a more readily available, although we did have a hard time finding it ourselves. We did find it.
A little more
The Remus
easy.
Repeal Reserve Batch 5. Then we had the Maker's Mark with the FAE02. And then tied for that fourth place was, spoilers, but our favorite of 2021, the Four Roses
been a few
Limited
months,
Edition Small Batch, tied with the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B521.
Let's go to some comments. Correction, comment. Bryson Mary said, sampled a friend's Russell's Reserve 13 at a bourbon share. It was fantastic. Next, we tried a Russell's Reserve single barrel. I immediately felt bad for the guy that spent $3.99 on the Russell's Reserve 13 because that $65 Russell's Reserve single barrel was better. I wasn't the only one that preferred the Russell's Reserve single barrel that night. But Chad, I have to say, when we first tried that Russell's 13, we were iffy on it because we had heard so much hype from everybody else. A lot of hype. But when we revisited it,
blind after it had opened up.
Yes, we
halfway
saw
down in the bottle.
We saw the light. We saw what everyone was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't win best overall for us, but it did make it into the top 10.
Sure.
If I'm remembering right.
For me, it's got a little more oak than I would normally prefer, but I think I can really respect its quality.
Sure.
Apparently, a lot of
good
you
stuff.
guys respect its quality because it won Best Overall Bourbon of the Year.
Right. Not a lot of comments for it, though.
Not a lot of comments fighting for it.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that.
Maybe that's because a lot of people haven't tried it.
Then why'd they vote for it?
I don't know. Ask them.
Maybe they just want it. I don't know.
Maybe they do just want it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, well, that is all the ones. Well, not all the ones.
We have a couple.
As we said, there's going to be some more on another round of Chad and Sarah, which is our Patreon exclusive after the episode show. So
Right.
maybe consider coming to Patreon if that interests you. But that does it for us. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to us already, we'd love to have you come on over. You can do so by clicking right up here. There's suggestions of other videos down here, and we'll see you over there one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks for another great It's Bourbon Night Awards, Chad.
Thank you. Until next time, drink more bourbon.